Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin Part 114 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The endless, vast blood sea floats alone, and this enormous mysterious land now has only one creature, Luo Feng. As for the submitted Blood Crane Territory clan, they have all been dispatched to serve the cultivator camp. In the Blood Sea, an island condenses, and on the island are some rare trees and plants. Luo Feng sits alone, drinking a fine brewed wine. As a lord, his demand for external things is very low, and some resources are specifically used for brewing wine and making gourmet food. 3 millennia, and I've encountered a bottleneck. Luo Feng drinks his wine and suddenly feels something, gazing afar. His gaze penetrates through endless time and space to a very remote place from the cultivator territory, where there is a source world. The creatures of that source world cultivate without any guiding inheritance, relying entirely on their exploration, making it countless times more difficult than the source worlds within the cultivator territory. They frequently face being devoured by world-level primordial or even ancestors. Even innate primordials like to devour the creatures within source worlds. In such a harsh environment, the source world currently has a creature who has cultivated to the ultimate realm of the godly king, breaking through the source world membrane wall with a secret technique and temporarily staying outside the source world, curiously observing the scene of the infinite primordial space. Is this the world beyond? The creature is very curious. In his home source world, he is absolutely invincible. Because there is no complete cultivation system, other than him, no other creature can explore to the godly king tier. He is the pathfinder of this world. Beyond the cultivator territory is a place full of tribulations. You can summarize a cultivation system and achieve the ultimate realm of the godly king. It's indeed impressive. A wave appears next to him. It is Lord Mo Man. Come with me, little one. Lord Mo Man directly guides this little being. Luo Feng watches from afar. Mo Man transforms into countless waves, spreading across the infinite primordial space, and occasionally brings back extraordinary talents from countless source worlds outside the cultivator territory. Starlight Lord observes past, present, and future, and once discovering talented ones, he also goes to guide them. The task of guiding talented cultivators outside the cultivator territory mainly falls on Mo Man and Starlight. What they can do is only this much. Even the lords can't protect all source worlds. Outside the cultivator territory, there's an even vaster range, the countless source worlds and creatures there are truly living in the nightmare world. Luo Feng is very aware of this but feels powerless. The 3,600 world groups are just a small area in the infinite primordial space. Because this area's world group is dense, resources are dense, the cultivator camp fully protects it. In fact, given the vastness of the infinite primordial space, even if the world's groups in other regions are sparse, their cumulative total amount is still much more than the 3,600 world groups. Why only the innate primordial camp wars with us, while other forces aren't as hostile? It's because there's still much vaster areas with many world groups providing food for those innate primordials. Luo Feng's eyes hold coldness. The rules of this infinite primordial space operate too cruelly for cultivators. He admits, the individual strength of a lord is immense. But among the countless source world's creatures, how many can break out of the cage? Without breaking out of the cage, the countless creatures of the source worlds have no capacity to resist against the innate primordials. Even the source world origin will be devoured by world-level primordials and even ancestors. Without lordly protection, those source worlds are repeatedly devoured, and even the eating speed must be planned. Luo Feng's gaze penetrates various time spaces, and he can see many nightmare-like scenes if he chooses to look. Whether it's the innate primordial camp, the Ice Peak camp, or other weaker forces. Primordials born are part of their food range. Of course, the food at the level of source world origin can only be enjoyed by world-level primordials or ancestors. The cultivator territory is peaceful, but what about outside the territory? Luo Feng easily sees world-level primordial devouring one source world after another, and the creatures within source worlds are exterminated. Every moment, countless creatures face extinction. Yet I can do nothing. Even as a lord, what he can do remains limited. The distances are too far, reaching many areas would take hundreds of days or even longer at his speed. If he merely sends a thought over long distances, he cannot rival a world-level primordial. Only 8 lords guarding 3,600 world groups, and they already face wars. If we want to protect all source worlds in the infinite primordial space, I'm afraid all foreign forces would unite. Luo Feng understands this. Innate primordial camp, ice peak camp, and numerous weak forces would probably join forces. Numerous undying beings and a larger number of ancestors would quickly crush the entire cultivator camp. Still too weak? Luo Feng is confident, but currently, among the 8 lords, he isn't sure he ranks 3rd. In the infinite primordial space, he isn't sure he is in the top 10. Primordial Blade Path. Luo Feng frowns. With my current comprehension, insight, and thinking speed, in 3 millennia I have already understood 90% of the primordial blade path, and have a clear prototype, but I've encountered a bottleneck. In fact, it's already much faster than Wulan, Jin, Ming Huang, etc. people. 3 millennia of continuous progress form a clear framework. A complete prototype. Yet, there was still a bottleneck obstructing me. My primordial blade path consists of approximately 87% destruction and 13% life, fused together. The small integration of the life system mainly involves aspects such as life chi mechanism lock, life cutting, life entanglement, etc. When it comes to locking onto a target, destruction also has killing intent lock, and when merged with life chi mechanism lock, the ability to lock onto enemies naturally reaches a very high level. Luo Feng's primordial blade path is all about locking onto the enemy and pursuing various destruction techniques. The stronger, the better. Yet my primordial blade path still lacks something to form a perfect whole. Luo Feng was quite vexed. The deficiency should be the accumulation in the area of destruction. Luo Feng once thought the accumulation in destruction was deep enough since he had comprehended all the high-level primordial materials, world-level primordial materials, and ancestor-level materials accumulated by the cultivator camp. He also reviewed the heritage of the other 7 lords. Jin's heritage focused on destruction, but Jin's personality made his path incompatible with Luo Feng, who could only extract parts of the information. Having previously grasped the primordial life and death Tao, at that time, the accumulation in destruction was sufficient. But now, focusing on destruction, the accumulation is no longer enough. The sky-splitting saber originates from the abyss of destruction. Luo Feng turned his hand to look at the saber in his hand. Across the entire infinite primordial space, the abyss of destruction undoubtedly contains the most destruction power. The abyss of destruction is the highest tier mysterious land. Like the land of eternity and fire prison wall, they are all recognized by various powers of the infinite primordial space as the highest tier and are seen as places where the hope of refining and control is unseen, and even the origins of these places cannot be found. The abyss of destruction contains every known and unknown destruction power. The abyss of destruction is like a bottomless abyss. From the outermost first layer of the destruction world, one can continuously delve into the second layer, third layer. It is necessary to kill through all obstacles in a layer and imprint one's life mark onto the origin phantom of that layer to become the master of that layer of the destruction world. Luo Feng had long known the detailed information of the source of destruction. In fact, almost every ancestor in the infinite primordial space has explored the abyss of destruction. How is the true combat strength of these ancient beings in infinite primordial space, ranked in the top 10, top 20, top 30, determined? It mainly depends on their performance in the abyss of destruction. Up till now, the deepest layer reached in the abyss of destruction is by the Ice Peak Camp's Shoju, and she is the master of the 27th layer of the destruction world. The Starlight Lord is the master of the 26th layer of the destruction world. The reason why Starlight is one layer behind is that Shoju rose to dominance too long ago, taking the 27th layer first, thus using terrain to block Starlight from breaking her obstacles and refining the 27th layer. Starlight has also tried, but could not kill through the 28th layer of the destruction world. This shows that the capabilities of Starlight and Shoju in destruction are nearly indistinguishable. They are also recognized as the top 2 in strength in the infinite primordial space. Weaker than them is the master of the 22nd layer of the destruction world, Demon Ruins. As for the 23rd to 25th layers of the destruction world, they are unclaimed. This also represents that the Starlight Lord and Shouju are clearly stronger than the other beings. The 22nd layer to the 1st layer all have masters. From this, their strength can be judged to some extent. Aside from the new Lord Luo Feng, the other 7 lords each have an avatar occupying a layer in the Abyss of Destruction. Yuan is in the 19th layer of the Destruction world. Mo Man is in the 13th layer of the Destruction world. Jin is in the 12th layer of the Destruction world. Ming Huang is in the 11th layer of the Destruction world. Nai Jiyu is in the 9th layer. Wulan is in the 7th layer. Thanks to their performance in the Abyss of Destruction, Starlight is acknowledged as having one of the top 2 strengths, Yuan is acknowledged within the top 10 of the infinite primordial space, and the other lords are all stable within the top 20 strengths. But this ranking has a flaw: it's not very friendly to those who excel in survival. For example, the initial ancestor with the strongest defense has a rather mediocre kill ability, and couldn't even take the 1st layer of the destruction world. Wulan, the Cultivator Lord, although slower in speed and clumsier with techniques, wields enormously powerful moves, allowing him to occupy the 7th layer. Yet all sides know, at critical moments, beings like Initial, Wulan, and Luo Feng, who specialize in defense and life, might play a bigger role. The Abyss of Destruction proves only one's ability to kill enemies. The Abyss of Destruction contains all known and unknown destruction power. Luo Feng stood within the Blood Crane territory, clad in black, draped with a blood-red robe. Go to the Abyss of Destruction, continue to enhance my accumulation in destruction, hoping it helps me to break through the bottleneck and fully master the primordial blade path. Carrying the sky-splitting saber, this avatar of Luo Feng, the main battle avatar, stepped forth out of the Blood Crane territory and headed towards the Abyss of Destruction. The time and space of the infinite primordial space is very mysterious, with a structure not stacked like 1,000-layer cakes, but rather like a multidimensional spider web. Hence, the land of origin is hidden in a certain time and space, and no other forces can find it. Who? Shadow power is one of the highest-level forces that mirror numerous spaces. Luo Feng, using the mysteries of shadow power contained in the Blood Crane territory, traverses the shadow power space layer, each step spanning immense distances of space and time. Even then, after traveling non-stop for 55 days, Luo Feng finally arrived at the Abyss of Destruction. The Abyss of Destruction is hidden in the depths of time and space, making it hard for world-level primordials to peer into. But upon reaching the ancestor level, one can sense and delve into the depths of time and space to reach the Abyss of Destruction. Arrived. Luo Feng takes a step, crossing multiple time spaces, reaching near the Abyss of Destruction. The outermost layer of the Abyss of Destruction lies deep within time and space. Each layer penetrates further into greater depths. Even the Starlight Lord cannot discern the bottommost layer of the Abyss of Destruction. The most powerful layer of mysterious land. Merely seeing it, Luo Feng feels its immovability. This Abyss of Destruction personifies the entire infinite primordial space, with an oppressive force surpassing even the land of eternity. Compared to it, the Blood Crane territory is far different. Both are mysterious lands, yet worlds apart. Let's go to the 1st layer first. Luo Feng steps forward, breaking through numerous spatial obstacles, forcibly entering the 1st layer of the Abyss of Destruction. The 1st layer of the Abyss of Destruction is occupied by an ancestor named Barwei Yu. To occupy a layer of the destruction world, he is among the top 30 existences in the endless primordial space. 9 huge figures of exotic beasts prostrated respectfully, Ancestor. Bringing you to the Abyss of Destruction is to let you experience the power of destruction. If you can make further progress and master this power of destruction, you can step into the ancestor level. A figure with 8 hooves and 16 eyes, each eye in different colors, watches its clan descendants. Our Barwei clan, up till now, only has 2 ancestors, too weak. Barwei Yu said. These 9 world-level primordial lives are equally eager for further advancement. I will arrange for the world envoy of the 1st layer of the Abyss of Destruction to spar with you. The world envoy will ensure that you are not killed. Ba Wei Yu's 16 eyes look at the clan descendants. Go now. Truly experience this power of destruction. Yes. The 9 world-level primordials respectfully withdraw. Ba Wei Yu immediately appoints a world envoy to spar with the clan descendants. Suddenly, Ba Wei Yu senses something. Ba Wei Yu looks outside, seeing a black-haired man in a blood-red robe forcibly enter the first layer of the abyss of destruction. Is it the cultivator Lord Luo Feng? Ba Wei Yu naturally recognizes him, his 16 eyes spinning cautiously. He is not afraid. Every ancestor, having mastered the highest level power, has life cores evolved to a very high level, with terrifyingly strong life force. During the war between the innate primordial camp and the cultivator camp, before Luo Feng's breakthrough, Mo Man, Jin, and Ming Huang did not dare to burn their main battle avatars. They relied on countless techniques accumulated over time to gradually accumulate and slowly kill enemies. Even with Luo Feng joining the battle, Mo Man and others burned their main battle avatars to use their strongest techniques, requiring several of them to cooperate to kill an ancestor. This was with the cooperation of Yuan and Starlight. Without Yuan and Starlight's cooperation, those ancestors had various ways to escape. Starlight suppresses all time and space. Yuan can envelop a vast surrounding area with rule operations, restricting all forces. With their cooperation, Luo Feng's energy supply, and Mo Man and others burning their main battle avatars' forbidden techniques, they managed to kill a few ancestors when the innate primordial camp was caught off guard. Truly one-on-one, ancestors have their ways. In the infinite primordial space, at the ancestor level and cultivator lord level, there has yet to be a one-on-one kill. It always takes several working together to cut off all hope for the opponent, making possible a kill. Ba Wei Yu, who is ranked among the top 30 in the infinite primordial space, hasn't joined any camp. He has enough confidence to handle dangers. In the infinite primordial space, the so-called weak forces are relative compared to the 3 major camps. In reality, they are quite formidable, each with some reliance. The weakest ancestors who cannot handle crises generally have long joined the innate primordial camp or the Ice Peak camp. Lord Luo Feng. Ba Wei Yu's voice rumbles. Luo Feng has already entered this first layer of the destruction world, a vast and expansive world, several times the size of the source world. It also contains a force of destruction that tears everything apart. This destruction power lurks in every corner of this world layer. Because this first layer has the owner, Ba Wei Yu, these lurking destruction powers have not erupted. Ba Wei Yu. Luo Feng looks. Ba Wei Yu wields a highest level force known as multidimensional divine light, known for its strong destructive power. It specializes in binding and imprisoning enemies with its 16-colored multidimensional divine light and is highly skilled in fleeing. Its escape ability surpasses even the Shadow Lord of the Blood Crane territory. Compared to Luo Feng, who can only partially harness shadow power, Ba Wei Yu's escape is much superior. Do you want to claim the first layer of my destruction world? Ba Wei Yu seriously asks Luo Feng, if you want it, I can yield it to you. He has self-awareness. Luo Feng, even against joint obstruction from the 3 lords of the Blood Crane territory, could forcibly break through, ultimately refining the Blood Crane territory. He alone, as Ba Wei Yu, would be unable to stop Luo Feng. He would certainly leave a life imprint on the shadow of origin of the first layer of the destruction world. Rest assured, I will not take the first layer of the destruction world. Luo Feng said, however, please summon all the world envoys to besiege me. Let me feel the power of this layer of the destruction world. Good. Ba Wei Yu smiled, his beard curled. Everything was as he expected. Among the previous 7 lords of the cultivators, those who could master the primordial path were all formidable. Even the clumsy Wulan occupied the 7th layer of destruction world. How could Luo Feng possibly regard the first layer? Luo Feng, as a lord, might not care, but Ba Wei Yu did. Lord Luo Feng, I will mobilize all world envoys to besiege you, so be careful. Ba Wei Yu said. Luo Feng stood in mid-air, nodding slightly, thanks. Not far from Ba Wei Yu, 9 world-level primordials had just battled against a world envoy, being wantonly ravaged, and then discovered the arrival of Lord Luofeng. The first layer of Destruction World can mobilize 3,000 world envoys, each being undying and immortal. Lord Luofeng needs to be careful. After Ba Weiyu finished speaking, all of them, including the world envoy who fought against the 9 world-level primordials, charged towards Luofeng. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Dense and numerous, 3,000 world envoys appeared, surrounding Luofeng. This scene made the hearts of the 9 world-level primordials tremble. Luofeng, one of the 8 lords of the cultivators. Even the ancestor was actually so polite to this Lord Luofeng, willing to voluntarily yield this layer of Destruction World. I've heard the 8 lords of the cultivator camp are each extremely difficult to deal with. These 9 world-level primordials curiously observed. They saw. Under the overwhelming siege of 3,000 world envoys, Luofeng seemed like an unmovable mountain, resisting all attacks. The blood-colored robe he wore fluttered, enduring all attacks. Even a casual counterattack could turn 10 or 8 world envoys into nothingness. Luofeng stood in midair, holding the sky-splitting saber. With a single slash, the blade light swept across, slaying several world envoys. These obliterated world envoys would condense and reappear from nothingness. World envoys are the carriers of the power concentrated in each layer of the Destruction World, undying and immortal. Although their strength is very weak, only containing the incomplete power of destruction, yet 3,000 of them combined remain very terrifying. The so-called piercing through a Destruction World is to break through all the obstacles of the world envoys, forcibly leaving a mark on the shadow of origin of a layer's world. In the first layer of the world, breaking through the obstacles of 3,000 envoys requires strength close to that of Ba Weiyu. Like in the 28th layer world, even starlight cannot break through all the obstacles of the world envoys. Slash! A world envoy instantly transformed into a ray of light, which slashed onto Luofeng's blood-colored robe. The robe's surface still had a protective energy layer flowing. Although a crack was made, it could not cause any damage. Kill! Another world envoy instantly disappeared, with a ray of light exploding within Luofeng's body. Luofeng's body, with the added power of Blood Sea, was far more resilient than before, completely resisting the damage. 3,000 world envoys, strange and unpredictable. From all directions, from within, besieging Luofeng. These world envoys can only summon a small amount of the power of the first layer of Destruction World, but when combined, they are almost able to glimpse the full picture of this power. Luofeng carefully perceived. The various methods of the 3,000 world envoys combined can be called the power of breaking. Or perhaps the power of split. This form of highest level destruction power can cause everything to fracture. A destruction power that causes everything to fracture? Luofeng carefully felt, even consciously retracting the blood-colored robe, using his physical body to more finely experience the techniques of these world envoys' siege. In the abyss of destruction, each layer of the Destruction World contains a form of highest level destruction power. Moreover, each weapon nurtured contains a form of highest level destruction power. Slash, all things can be cut. Luofeng felt the attack of the world envoy slashing on his body surface. The body nurtured by the primordial life and death Tao, even without the added power of Blood Sea, only showed some wounds on the surface. Split, the natural splitting of life. A world envoy transformed into a black light appeared within his body. Before the black light touched the flesh naturally began to split. Luofeng felt various injuries. All are mainly destruction fused with other mysteries forming these powers. In the abyss of destruction, all powers of destruction, where the destruction mysteries contain at least over 80%. Others may contain mysteries from life, matter, infinite, fire, space, and many other paths. Much richer than I originally understood. The so-called power of breaking is not just breaking in one stroke, but also the natural breaking of life and all things. Luofeng showed a happy expression. The power of breaking, destruction accounts for 80%, life accounts for 20%. It's the most common form of power of destruction, contained in the abyss of destruction. Luofeng carefully pondered, because he already accumulated deeply, he faintly felt, this specific power of breaking, given a bit of time, I am able to master. His primordial blade path has already created its embryonic form. Creating a Tao is very difficult, but mastering one form of power corresponding to this Tao is much easier. In endless primordial space, mastering the same kind of power is still recognized as a form of highest level power. Like a cultivator lord, mastering a primordial level Tao. If willing, it's easy to master several forms of highest level power of this Tao, but several same origin powers add nothing to strength. Different kinds of powers provide more significant assistance. Like Starlight Lord mastering two primordial level Taos, actually, one Tao primarily focuses on space, while the other primarily focuses on time. Such assistance is great. Time paired with space achieves a qualitative change. What Luo Feng pursues is life and destruction. Like the infinite snake ancestor mastering infinite and space, two kinds of highest level powers, plus the mysterious land infinite world enhancement. Once mastering the highest level destruction power, power of breaking, it will surely be greatly beneficial to my comprehension of the primordial blade path. Luo Feng felt the difficulty wasn't high, at least simpler than the bottleneck of the primordial blade path, and immediately began to ponder elaborately. Luo Feng stayed on the first layer of the abyss of destruction for more than one epoch. During this time, the 3,000 world envoys tirelessly launched continuous attacks, and Luo Feng constantly observed the partial power of destruction they invoked. It's about time. I've thoroughly studied all the powers of the 3,000 world envoys. Staying here is meaningless, Luo Feng realized naturally one day. Luo Feng looked into the distance and spoke, "Ba Wei Yu, thank you for your assistance. I'm ready to proceed to the next layer of the destruction world." Ba Wei Yu, who had been silently paying attention, also breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately dispelled these world envoys. Luo Feng nodded at him and then directly broke through the obstruction of space, heading towards the next layer of the destruction world. Finally gone. Ba Wei Yu was completely relieved. As long as Luo Feng stayed here, he had been worried that Lord Luo Feng might turn against them and forcibly occupy this layer of the destruction world. Unfortunately, their strength was too weak to provoke the cultivator camp. The 9 world-level primordials had also been looking forward to this day. During this epoch-long period, they had no world envoys for practice and didn't dare to make a big fuss, fearing to anger that cultivator lord. Continue cultivating, Ba Wei Yu immediately arranged for a world envoy to accompany these 9 clansmen. Second layer of the abyss of destruction. Cultivator Lord Luo Feng? A fat giant beast, with smooth hair that changed colors endlessly, each strand containing infinite wonders and a vast internal space. The master of this layer of the destruction world was one of the 9 emperors of the innate primordial camp, the primal beast ancestor. Primal beast ancestor. Luo Feng also saw the opponent. The primal beast ancestor, the strongest existence in the domain of the endless primordial space, its body itself was a domain. Of course, it was only good at domains, in other aspects, it was relatively weak. In terms of direct combat, it was much weaker than Wulan, only managing to occupy the second layer of the destruction world with much difficulty. Lord Luo Feng, what are you doing here? The primal beast ancestor stared at Luo Feng, quite vigilant. It had experienced the explosive might of Luo Feng's origin great destruction. Together with the Black Tide ancestor and the giant god emperor, the trio was invincible. But one-on-one? Compared to any cultivator lord, it was weaker. I have no intention of seizing this layer of the destruction world. Please, primal beast ancestor, dispatch all the world envoys of this layer to attack me with full force, Luo Feng said. The primal beast ancestor was wary in its heart, but still slightly nodded on the surface, all right. With a thought, numerous black-haired envoys appeared. 1,800 black-haired envoys, fierce and dominant, their bodies much stronger, surrounded and attacked Luo Feng. A red robe fluttered wildly on Luo Feng's body, letting the attacks fall on him as he meticulously comprehended them. The power of destruction contained in the second layer should be called the power of shattering, being 80% destruction and 20% matter. Luo Feng quickly made a judgment, having profound insights into destruction. 80% destruction and 20% matter. Not suitable for him to master, but he could comprehend the mysteries of destruction within. Luo Feng engaged in battle with these envoys, often deliberately enduring these attacks physically for deeper comprehension. Boom! As he casually slashed down a saber, killing an envoy, an invisible ripple appeared, and a grey weapon descended from a hidden space. Luo Feng's eyes lit up, immediately reaching out to grab it. It was a grey spear, possessing extremely strong destructive power. This is the first destruction weapon I've acquired in the Abyss of Destruction. Luo Feng smiled. According to the information he gathered, during the explorations in the Abyss of Destruction, while destroying one destruction world after another, weapons were occasionally found. Previous 7 lords had obtained some destruction weapons, the least having 5 or 6, and the Starlight Lord had even acquired more than 20. All these are destruction weapons, not very suitable for the lords. So, most lords stored them in the land of origin for the later cultivators to exchange. During the moment of despair in previous wars, the lords temporarily opened up exchange permissions, allowing Luo Feng, who hadn't yet broken out of the cage, to have the opportunity to acquire the sky-splitting saber. At that time, many treasures were opened up, and several were as precious as the sky-splitting saber. These destruction weapons provide little assistance to me. Luo Feng put away the spear with a flip of his hand. This spear was comparable to the sky-splitting saber, but he personally preferred blade techniques. The sky-splitting saber at this level of weaponry was an ordinary weapon for ancestors and lords, providing very limited enhancement to strength. A treasure capable of significantly boosting the strength of cultivator lords would be extremely precious. According to intelligence, the Land of Destruction holds certain special opportunities that can yield extremely precious items. Luo Feng understood the information. For instance, the white battle armor of Kafu was obtained from the Abyss of Destruction. Jin had braved the dangers time and again, even wanting Luo Feng's help to enter the Abyss of Destruction, seeking those special opportunities to acquire a very powerful weapon or battle armor. On his own, his exploration range was limited. If Luo Feng assisted, many layers of the destruction world could not stop them. Refining the shadow of origin requires relying on one's own strength. But simple exploration? Collaborating in exploration is very normal. According to intelligence, the deeper you go into the Abyss of Destruction, the higher the chance of encountering special opportunities. This was the experience summarized by other lords. In the first 10 layers, there had been no rumors of special opportunities appearing. It could also be that the discoverers kept it secret and never disclosed it. Beyond 10 layers, special opportunities occasionally appeared. Kafu, a long time ago, encountered an opportunity during an exploration on the 19th layer, going through hardships, and finally obtained that white battle armor, which accompanied him for endless ages. The benefits of that white battle armor greatly enhanced his defense against various external attacks, comparable to the benefits of refining and mastering a mysterious land. Rumor has it that beyond the 20th layer, there are more unique opportunities. However, there are only 4 who've occupied beyond the 20th layer of the infinite primordial space, the 21st layer by Infinite Snake Ancestor, the 22nd by Demon Ruins, the 26th by Starlight Lord, and the 27th by Shoju. Yuan is at the 19th layer. But it doesn't mean he is weaker than Infinite Snake Ancestor or Demon Ruins. Occupying each layer of the Abyss of Destruction favors the first occupier. Because for Yuan to occupy the 21st layer, he needs to face the joint blockade of Infinite Snake Ancestor and numerous world envoys having strength almost as strong as Infinite Snake Ancestor. Let's take it slowly. Luo Feng felt the siege of the surrounding black-haired envoys, familiarizing himself with the highest level power of destruction, power of shattering. The master of the destruction world, Primordial Beast Ancestor, watched from afar, quite envious. These cultivator lords, every one of them has mastered the primordial path. As for me, I rely more on my innate talent, born as an ancestor. Even if I grow to this point, I am unmatched in domain within the infinite primordial space. But I can't achieve undying and undying. My body itself is my domain, which makes my domain incredibly strong, but also confines me. Primordial Beast Ancestor, having lived too long, accumulated too much, understood his own shortcomings. I want to be undying and undying. I must break free from the constraints of the physical body, make my domain fully integrate into the infinite primordial space. At that time, I will be part of the infinite primordial space itself, and so, I can be undying and undying. As for now, having a tangible physical body presents the possibility of being destroyed. Previously, it experienced Luophong's origin great destruction, and immediately got rid of the power of Luophong's origin great destruction voluntarily. Despite that, both it and Black Tide Ancestor lost about 10% of their physical bodies. If one were to completely block that terrifying power, Primordial Beast Ancestor might be completely annihilated. Of course, it is not that foolish. Undying and undying. Primordial Beast Ancestor yearned, yet couldn't take that step. In a blink of an eye, more than one epoch passed. Primordial Beast Ancestor, no need to let world envoys continue the siege. I am also ready to move to the next layer. Luophong said. Lord Luophong. Primordial Beast Ancestor suddenly spoke. Do you think, how can my void body fully integrate into the infinite primordial space? Fully integrate? Luophong glanced at it, then said, to integrate, you must first understand it enough. You should carefully comprehend the infinite primordial space. If you can't comprehend the primordial space Tao, at least comprehend a kind of highest level space power. Comprehending a kind of space power? Primordial Beast Ancestor subconsciously gave up the idea of comprehending the primordial space Tao, as that isn't something an ancestor like it can aspire to. But comprehending a new highest level power is still overwhelmingly challenging. Thank you. Primordial Beast Ancestor expressed gratitude. Luophong smiled slightly, then moved on to the next layer. Among the cultivator camp lords, there is different treatment for the innate primordial camp. Hostility is deep towards the main battle faction, while towards the anti-battle faction, the cultivator camp is much friendlier. From the 9 emperors, Giant God Emperor, Black Tide Ancestor, Primordial Beast Ancestor are the leaders of the anti-battle faction. Previously, when 70+ ancestors couldn't retreat smoothly, making the entire camp likely to lose, only then did these 3 join forces. The cultivator camp befriends the 3 of Giant God Emperor, hoping to reduce the number of main battle faction. Because when fighting, although the lords are fine, many world groups suffer heavy casualties. Mastering a highest level power is really not easy. Luophong secretly lamented. Back then, starting on the basis of mastering the primordial life and death Tao, he comprehended blood power, which took over 3 epochs. This time his primordial blade path is just in its infancy, comprehending power of breaking is noticeably harder. Of course, it's still easier than comprehending a complete primordial blade path. His potential and comprehension, with accumulation in Tao, makes comprehending a single highest level power so difficult. Those ancestors usually grow through their life core, with innate talent generally grasping one highest level power, mastering a second. The difficulty naturally skyrockets. For example, within the Giant God Emperor clan, none can refine and control the Giant God realm. Within the Infinite Great Snake clan, only Infinite Snake Ancestor fully masters 2 highest level powers, while other ancestor level Infinite Great Serpents are significantly weaker. Luophong stays in each destruction world for 1 or 2 eras, familiarizing with the highest level power of destruction within that layer. In the 5th layer of destruction world, Luophong encountered Lotus Prison Mountain Master, who is hostile towards every cultivator lord, naturally deeply hostile to Luophong, completely unwilling to cooperate. Luophong could only make a move, asserting a stance of forcibly occupying the 5th layer of destruction world. Although Lotus Prison Mountain Master is skilled at resisting attacks, direct confrontation is weaker than Luophong himself, otherwise, he wouldn't be occupying only the 5th layer. With Luophong's assertive stance, Lotus Prison Mountain Master was forced to go all out and resort to cooperation with 800 world envoys in joint siege. The battle soared amidst dim skies and dark earth. Luophong continued battling for more than 1 epoch, thoroughly researching the power of 800 world envoys, before proceeding to the 6th layer of destruction world. These cultivator lords, each is domineering. Lotus Prison Mountain Master felt dissatisfied, but powerless. The 7th layer of the abyss of destruction. Luophong finally arrived here. Brother Luophong. Wulan's booming laughter reverberated through the entire 7th layer world. I sense you stayed for 1 or 2 eras in each layer of destruction world. Are you comprehending the power of destruction? All other lords understood that after Luo Feng used power-breaking technique, he would definitely attempt a second primordial Dao. They also believed that given Luo Feng's speed in power-breaking technique, the second primordial Dao should not take too long. Comprehending the second Dao, I've hit a bottleneck. Luo Feng shook his head, so I came to the abyss of destruction to increase my accumulation. Whatever help you need, just ask. Wulan said. Could you, Brother Wulan, deploy all envoys of this layer to siege me? Luo Feng requested. All right. With a single thought, Wulan mobilized 600 world envoys. These 600 world envoys, each like a molten lava beast, extremely fierce, sieged Luo Feng, allowing him to encounter a new power of destruction, violent power. Violent power comprises 8 parts destruction path, 2 parts fire path. Luo Feng experienced it for more than one epoch, then let Wulan remove these envoys. Brother Wulan, I need to stay in this layer of destruction world for a while. Luo Feng said. Ha ha ha. Feel free to stay as long as you like. This avatar of mine usually sleeps. Wulan's laughter boomed, echoing within this layer of destruction world. With a single thought, Luo Feng transformed the land, soon forming a simple cave mansion. I won't disturb Brother Luo Feng. Wulan laughed, his massive body slowly sinking into the depths of the earth, into a state of slumber. Only to awaken upon the arrival of outsiders. Having experienced 7 power of destruction, all mysteries have been pondered, it needs to be well digested and absorbed, making them a part of my path. Luo Feng began to seclude himself within the cave mansion. In the blink of an eye, Luo Feng had been in seclusion on the 7th layer of the abyss of destruction for over 300 epochs. In a hidden location within the territory of the innate primordial camp. A super-large radiant sphere was expanding repeatedly, with its terrifying pulsations affecting an ever-widening area. Surrounding some of the innate primordial races, fear seeped in the face of this dreadful energy fluctuation. What's going on? Has the infinite ancestor lost control? The 5 ancestors and thousands of world-level primordials under the infinite ancestor look towards the true body of the infinite ancestor. Even when cultivating, the infinite ancestor did not conceal itself, existing in the form of an ultramassive radiant sphere. Its light illuminated creatures across an endless expanse. What is this? The 5 ancestors and thousands of world-level primordials who dared to gaze upon the true body of the infinite ancestor all saw black patterns appearing on the surface of the ultramassive radiant sphere. The radiant sphere, originally filled with endless light, began to be covered by black patterns. These black patterns twisted, resembling numerous evil and ugly black snakes. When seen, these black snakes would infiltrate the viewer's heart, naturally permeating the entire body, and penetrating the soul. Thousands of world-level primordials hopelessly discovered that a terrifying pollution was corroding and drowning them. During the years following the infinite ancestor, they had become accustomed to watching the true body of the infinite ancestor. In the past, the pollution of the true body of the infinite ancestor was very low and had no effect on world-level primordials. Do not gaze. Do not gaze upon the true body of the infinite ancestor. Those 5 ancestors urgently ordered, as they were not afraid of pollution, and could even clearly see that those ugly and evil black patterns were actually exceedingly intricate black secret patterns. However, the profoundness contained was too deep. Merely looking closely at it would severely pollute the world-level primordials. These thousands of world-level primordials are heavily polluted. Let them see for themselves. If they can resist the pollution, they will survive. If not, they will die. These 5 ancestors did not care about these world-level primordials. Instead, they watched anxiously as the ultramassive radiant sphere at the moment. The ultramassive radiant sphere, with countless black patterns coiling, became ferocious and terrifying. Its power was far more terrifying than before. What on earth is happening with the infinite ancestor? The pollution of its true body has never been this terrifying. The 5 ancestors were puzzled. The true body of an ancestor always possessed pollution, but to make it difficult for world-level primordials to gaze upon was very rare. Suddenly, the ultramassive radiant sphere rapidly expanded, in an instant transforming into an incredibly dazzling light, utterly destroying and affecting the vast surrounding territory. Fortunately, the earlier commotion had ensured no creatures dared remain nearby. This pulsation, with extensive reach, felt slightly uncomfortable even to the 5 watching ancestors. The pulsation continued to spread, crossing vast space-time, causing even some distant high-level primordial life forms to shatter and die instantly upon contact. As for the low-level primordial life, they were directly annihilated into energy. This terrifying power could even match 7 or 8/10ths of that of Lord Luophong's self-detonation. These 5 ancestors were quite astonished. Although the infinite ancestor was always among the top 3 of the innate primordial 9 emperors, it had never been this powerful. Ha ha ha. Accompanied by laughter, another radiant sphere appeared, emitting pulsations on its surface. I tried exploding myself once, yet sadly after the explosion, I could only recover less than 1/10 of my body. Much less recovery than Lord Luophong. Infinite, you can self-detonate? The 5 ancestors could not believe it. Ancestors have a vital life core, and generally dare not perform self-detonating techniques. I must thank Lord Luophong, making my endless light advance further. Henceforth my life core has also turned into endless light, truly reaching undying and undying status. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. The infinite ancestor was too delighted, its laughter thundered, resonating across the infinitely vast space. It did not care at all, because it tried to perform a self-detonating technique, affecting countless weak innate primordial life forms. Undying and undying? The 5 ancestors exclaimed in amazement and joy upon hearing it. Congratulations, infinite brother. All 5 were filled with joy and envy, for before this, only 4 ancestors in the entire innate primordial camp had reached the undying and undying level, and now the infinite ancestor also reached this stage. Infinite brother, what do you plan to do next? One of the ancestors asked. Naturally, I will prove my power to the infinite primordial space to secure a seat in the land of eternity. The voice of the massive radiant sphere resounded mightily. In the cultivator camp, as long as a lord emerges, they naturally gain a seat in the land of eternity. However, those ancestors are different, as most of them have no seat. Even after a breakthrough, they must prove their strength to the outside world, only then they are recognized. The simplest way to prove strength is to penetrate deeper layers of the destruction world. The massive radiant sphere brimmed with fighting spirit. The infinite ancestor originally occupied the 14th layer of the abyss of destruction. In fact, its power was comparable to that of Lord Mo-Man, being able to occupy a deeper layer purely due to the advantage of initial occupation. After a breakthrough in strength, the infinite ancestor began to delve deeper. The 15th layer was its old friend, the silent extinction ancestor, which it did not challenge. The occupier of the 16th layer was Mogus. The infinite ancestor, in a mad frenzy, forced Mogus to mobilize all the world envoys to fight it together. The current infinite ancestor was illuminated by endless light and exuded a terrifying aura. With its own power, it completely suppressed Mogus and all the world envoys combined, forcing its way to where the Shadow of Origin resided. However, it did not leave a life imprint but instead laughed and continued to the next layer. The 17th layer was occupied by the Feather Emperor. The Feather Emperor also mastered 2 types of highest level power, one being light power, the other feather power. It could also be omnipresent, its movement technique not inferior to the infinite ancestors. Moreover, the Feather Emperor had the Feather Realm support and carried all the world envoys to join forces. In a great battle, the Feather Emperor was very aggressive in frontal combat, firmly blocking the infinite ancestor. I only suppressed it with the help of the world envoys. If it were one-on-one, I would be at a disadvantage, the Feather Emperor realized. Its endless light is much stronger than before. The 18th layer was occupied by Kafue. The infinite ancestor fought with Kafue. Kafue was powerful in close combat and also had the assistance of all the world envoys. But Kafu's movement technique was much weaker. The infinite ancestor restrained Kafue with part of its power, repelled all the world envoys, and forcibly left a mark on the Shadow of Origin, successfully occupying the 18th layer. The infinite ancestor had already realized that it hadn't taken the 17th layer, and had only barely managed to capture the 18th layer by means of restraint. The 19th layer was the impeccable Yuan, and each subsequent layer was more difficult. Its hopes of occupying them were slim. I actually lost, Kafu felt rather frustrated. He had nothing to say. Even with the help of the world envoys, he lost. What could he argue? One could only say that the infinite ancestor was too restraining for him. The endless power and light power contained within the infinite ancestor combined to form endless light, which wasn't very strong in the past, but its power was now significantly improved. Under its restraint, Kafu couldn't break through the layers of light in a short time and watched it defeat the world envoys and occupy the shadow of origin. 19th layer. The infinite ancestor fought against Yuan. The primordial rules of Yuan operated, making the entire layer of the destruction world seem like a hole, which the infinite ancestor couldn't break through. There was no need to mobilize the world envoys, it easily stopped the infinite. The infinite ancestor is stronger than before, Yuan said solemnly, watching the infinite ancestor move to the next layer. Its endless light's power is even more terrifying, and its life core is now integrated into the light, leaving no flaws. If there were a life core entity in Yuan's formation, it would not escape detection. From the 20th layer onward, the infinite ancestor tried one by one and failed each time. But it could be confirmed that its strength was now on par with the infinite snake ancestor, Yuan, and demon ruins only because it was a newcomer that it only managed to occupy the 18th layer of the destruction world. The infinite ancestor has broken through, reaching the state of undying and immortal, and has occupied the 18th layer of the abyss of destruction. Luo Feng was somewhat surprised upon receiving the news during his closed-door cultivation. In the war between the two camps, the innate primordial camp, having consumed the source world origin of hundreds of world groups, had also produced several ancestors. However, the cultivator camp did not care about these ordinary ancestors, but the birth of an undying and immortal being was of great importance to the Eight Lords. Infinite ancestors' power had already reached the level of Yuan. The innate primordial camp's strength has increased significantly again. Luo Feng felt the pressure, as the entire infinite primordial space had an inherent opposition between his camp and the innate primordial camp. ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* and its 30th member, Infinite Ancestor. On Infinite Ancestor's first arrival in the Land of Eternity, all 29 other members manifested their avatars. Last time it was Lord Luo Feng, this time it's the Infinite Ancestor. War indeed breeds strong ones more easily, said the demon ruins. In the war between the two camps, although some ancestors have died, two undying and immortal beings have emerged. The Infinite Snake Ancestor spoke leisurely, feeling quite pleased, as it very much welcomed the Infinite Ancestor's breakthrough. The birth of the Infinite Ancestor had significantly heightened the deterrence of the entire innate primordial camp, and since the Infinite Ancestor had no tribe, there was no need to compete for ordinary tribal resources. Lord Luo Feng, the Infinite Ancestor, took the initiative to speak. Luo Feng looked at it. I was able to take this step and reach the undying and immortal state, all thanks to you. The Infinite Ancestor's voice was grand. It was your self-detonation technique that gave me the impetus for my transformation, allowing my endless light to undergo a qualitative change. Luo Feng sat there, calmly saying, no need to thank me, it was because your accumulations were deep enough. After the gathering ended, Luo Feng dissipated to continue his closed-door cultivation. Even the celebration subsequently held by the Infinite Ancestor, Luo Feng did not attend. The cultivator campsite sent avatars of Yuan, Jin, and Mo Man to participate. Luo Feng's absence made the Infinite Ancestor at the celebration feel quite a bit of regret. Luo Feng was solely focused on his closed-door cultivation, which had continued for over 500 epochs. Originally, his primordial blade path already had a complete framework, a rudimentary form, and more than 90% of it had been comprehended. Coming to the abyss of destruction, he meticulously studied 7 highest-level powers of destruction, further enriching his accumulations. The 7th layer of destruction world. In the cave mansion, Luo Feng suddenly opened his eyes, which contained a terrifying sharpness belonging to the highest-level power of the destruction path. I finally comprehended it. Luo Feng felt rejoiced in his heart. Although there was still some distance to a complete primordial blade path, he had finally comprehended one of the highest-level powers, the power of breaking. The pursuit of destruction's power of breaking would greatly compensate for his shortcomings. This episode is end here.